Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on our font renderer. And today's topic is trying to render letters at a reasonably low resolution without them looking like total crap. So, context. Here is our attempt at rendering some letters. So I can go in here and I can be like, render me an A, render me a B, render me a C. And they're looking pretty good now. At the end of last stream, we were having a little bit of trouble with the way that these things are being rendered. We had a few holes, getting shown at like kind of like boundary points. So like maybe like at around here, we would see like a line kind of coming through here. And that is because the way that we are rendering these things is we extract from a TTF file. We go through a lot of steps, jump through a lot of hoops, and eventually get a series of lines and Bezier curves, right? So like a font might. Hello, could I please open the image editor? There we go. My disk was a little busy. But you might end up with something that looks kind of like this, right? Letter A. So this is made up of two contours. And I guess the A is a bad example because there are no curves here. Everything in the A is like a line. Let's look at the letter B instead. Like this. Boom, 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 right? So here we're gonna have some series of like a line here, a line here, a line here, as well as some like Bezier curves. Like, so in like the world's simplest Bezier curve here, you would have something that looks like this, right? Where you have like this point, these 3 points define a curve, and then, that generates this, right? Now, if you are trying to leverage these curves to draw the letter, you have to basically do some like inside-outside testing, essentially. So like for this pixel right here, I can basically say like walk in any direction, left, right? Or we can say walk from the left over to here. We cross one line, so we must be inside. We cross another line, we must be outside. We cross another line, inside, another line, outside. Hand wavy. There's also like you have to keep track of the like direction that the line is moving in that you're crossing, because you're allowed to like stack multiple things. Like you can have like imagine like 3 rings like this. You can have like inside filled in here, inside filled in here, and then outside here or something. And like, so you have to keep track of like the order of the direction you're going, etc., etc. But a lot of our problems were coming from boundary issues, essentially. So if you had like a line like this, made up of like 2 line segments, what happened was if you were going through this point right here, we were double counting, right? We were saying like, okay, so we've crossed this line and this line because they're both at this point, right? Which you'd think is like, no, just don't double count, right? Only count one of them. Except if you're going through the letter V at the very bottom, you actually do want to double count here, right? Because you have to hit the point and then immediately leave, right? And so there are all these kind of like strange edge cases where if you're trying to determine if you're inside or outside, you have to take into account like if 2 things are pointing in the same direction, right? If in this case, do not double count. In this case, do double count. And it turns out the piece of information that we were missing for people who have been following along is a single contour, right, can never cross this line twice in the same direction in a row, right? So in order for it to cross this thing upways, it has to have crossed it downways first, right? And so if we leverage that information, just basically say, if you're on the same contour and you see the same direction twice, get rid of that shit. That's basically the fix to almost all of the rendering issues that we were seeing the other day. The other slight confusion is on a Bezier curve. A Bezier curve is like, these Bezier curves are quadratics, right? Where you can use the quadratic formula and basically solve, like for this scan line, I have a point here and a point here, right? Now, what's weird about quadratics is if you're up here, you actually have 0 solutions. And if you're here, you have 1 solution. Here, you have 2 solutions, right? So in this case, it's kind of like the V, right? Where you kind of want to immediately enter and exit this thing, except for the fact that we are not a full quadratic, right? So you actually might split your quadratic so that you like have a line and then a Bezier segment. And in this case, if this point right here is the apex of your thing, i.e. where you have 1 solution, you actually only want to count it once there. So that's the other trick that we have to do. And then there's like a few like directional hacks that have to be done in there. So if you look at the TTF implementation here, we have like there's like a shit ton of unit tests now for like all of these different cases, but basically the quadratic has to take into account if we are at the apex of the quadratic and we are like at the end of the curve segment, then like we have like basically these conditions to deal with, and that's expressed by this condition. So sorry, I had to catch up the people who watched the last stream and are like, wait, what the fuck? You've made progress since then? We've basically just solved those minor problems, and now we're at the point where we can render some letters, right? Hooray! And so today's task is going to be trying to shrink these down. So font TTF specification basically only talks about like whether or not pixels should be turned on or off, right? It does not talk about like any anti-aliasing. But if you were to like screenshot this text and like look at it close up, it's like, hold on a second. There are definitely fucking things that are not 100% on or 100% off. What the fuck is going on there? And it turns out that the font engines can choose to do some anti-aliasing, right? So if I go into settings for my KDE, and I go into fonts here, and I untick anti-aliasing, and then I restart this thing. Look at how shit everything looks. It looks so bad. Right? Look at that. Look at how bad that shit looks. So, the fonts have the ability to do some like grid fitting, essentially. They say like, adjust yourself in a way that you are basically going to try to go through more pixels than not. And we haven't implemented any of that because it essentially involves writing a virtual machine that like runs programs that are embedded in the font files, right? And so we're just not doing that, and we want to see if we can avoid doing that, right? There's this paper by Valve from like 2007 we're saying paper by Valve like we're some form of like fucking academics. We're not. Valve did this trick, right? And they do this trick where they say, basically instead of doing what we're doing here, where we draw pixels as on or off, what if we stored every pixel as the distance from the edge, right? So in here, you go like, I go to the right, numbers get bigger, until here, then you get smaller, till here, right? And then here, you would basically do the same thing. You get bigger, smaller. But the stuff that's like in the holes, just call them negative. That's called like a signed distance field. And these things are like really, really powerful. The nice property that they have on text rendering is that if you were to interpolate the distances instead of whether the pixels are on or off, right? You're rendering at low resolution. You're interpolating now distances instead of on and off. Your interpolations now should be like way more accurate. They should now, instead of like if I'm like right here and I'm like on, off, on, like now I have to pick off or on, or like blend between them. I can like approximate the distance that I'm to an edge with like much more precision, is essentially what this thing is saying. And you can also like apply effects to the letters, like outlining them becomes really easy because you can say draw it black if it's like within this distance, and then white if it's like within some other distance. But the trick, what I'm curious about is if we use this form of rendering, we generate some signed distance fields, and we use those at low resolutions. I want to know if that looks good enough to the point where we don't have to do this grid fitting shit, right? Because that seems like work, and we hate doing work around here. So that's where we're at today. That's why I've kind of pulled these text rendering into our image editor, because we already are doing distance field generation on GPU for our brushes, right? So if I go in here and I draw some stuff, what this is actually doing is this is generating a distance field. And the reason that we do that is so that we can do like basically post-processing of the brush strokes. So here we can like make the things blurry with a small width, and we can like change the color after the fact, right? We can do all sorts of stuff. This allows us to apply like any effect we want. It allows us to use our brushes as like a blur filter, a like clone tool, whatever the fuck. And so the way we generate, we already have the code to generate these. And what we do is if I open up the exported version of this image, this is this, right? And what we do is on the GPU, we basically create like cones. Here's a cone right here. We put a cone on each point of the drawing, and for like segments that are like straight lines, we make like little tents or Toblerone bars or whatever the fuck you want to call them. And by doing this, the GPU can like auto generate this stuff for us, right? So then all you have to do is like the GPU just depth tests all of these like triangles and cones and automatically figures out like the distance field. So what I want to do is I want to generate some sort of 3D geometry for these letters, multiply them by like the mask essentially, so that we can say like things that are inside will be positive, things that are outside are negative, and then I want to scale these things down, see what they look like. If they look good, then we have no more work to do. We're fucking chilling. If they look shit, then we have to make some fixes, right? But yeah, that is the long ass intro. Holy shit, maybe longest intro ever. But that's the plan. So let's generate some SDFs and let's see what happens. So the way that we are generating these things right now, we have somewhere renderer, distance field generator. We basically like create one cone and one tent, and then we instance these things at many locations, right? So we say somewhere, someone says update buffers. Is that, no, not here. It's here. Generate distance field. He passes in some form of iterator that exports a series of points. That's all it does. And in here, we just go, okay, let me iterate those points. And if the point says that he's a new line or he's a point on that line, I will like, if it's a new line, I make a cone. Otherwise, I make a cone and a tent at this like distance between those last things. So all we have to do in order to do this like letter shit, is call this same program with an iterator that transforms our letter data into a series of points and lines. And so I think that's pretty doable. I would like to try that actually. So if we go into the objects and we look at our text object, right now we are saying, please generate me this mask using this font data. I guess here, this render character thing, we can kind of like pull some of the code out of here. So here we have like glyph segment iterator. This is probably the interesting piece here. Is this thing public? It is. Hell yeah, dude. So glyph for character is also public. So we can kind of like just kind of yoinkies this shit out here. Slap it here. And this comes from TTF here. Self TTF and self subtable. Except these aren't self anymore. These are, can I do these? Sorry. Let's do it. Non-trivial. Hold on. I guess here we have to split out a function that's like what are we gonna call this? It's like make distance field. Sure. And this will probably return like a texture, I think. We'll start there and kind of see how that feels. And he's going to take in whatever the fuck we were going to take in. So this and this. And is that it? I think so. So where were we? TTF.zig. We copy paste this stuff. We have an iterator of segments of the outside lines of our image, of our letter, I guess. And this must take in an allocator as well, I guess. Looks like he wants to use one. And he also probably wants a character. Sure. So here is our glyph, and we say, TTF mod, give me all of the segments of this thing. So we need to adapt this thing that outputs lines and Bezier curves into something that basically only makes lines. So for now, we can cheat just to try to get something working and basically turn every Bezier curve into a straight line. Just fix, and then we should be able to like pretty quickly generate something sane, I think. We also need to know if this generates line segments, I guess, which seems fine. So here we will make some sort of like line point iter. And this is going to hold one of these, I guess. And let's think for a second. Let's think. So on our next function, who needs to return some very specific thing, which must be from like our drawing object here. We probably have that definition here. This is the thing that we want to export. Wherever the fuck we just, hello. Here we go. This is our output. So this is going to return some sort of optional output. And this is going to take in our line point iter. Okay. What are we going to do? We're going to say iter next is going to give me something. Which we probably want to stash. So this is giving us line segments, but we're supposed to return points. I guess we need to check the last thing that we had stashed. Probably. This is like we're maybe taking a roundabout way of getting to where we want to go, but that's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind. So this is going to be a this thing output. We're going to stash the output of the inner iterator. I guess probably on initialization. We are going to do something. This is going to take in a TTF mod glyph segment iterator. Okay. And here we return ourselves. And I guess we're going to say inner next. I guess that means that this can be optional and equal to null. Maybe that makes sense. And then here we just say like inner is equal to inner. Okay. So then we say new next is this, or next point, I guess, so we don't name collide. I think that this thing gets mad when we have nest, like a struct in a function. Let's just kind of pull this out here. Okay, so we have the next point. We're gonna say like if next point, this is not next point, this is a next line segment. So if last is null, we just do self last equal to next line segment. This is probably or else return null, probably. I don't know. We'll see. If last is null, then we just like take the next line segment. We immediately return maybe we have some sort of like, if we're returning point by point, we need to determine where on the thing we are. So I feel like we probably store like an index here. Yep. And because when we walk our Bezier, we're gonna have to like chunk up our Bezier into many curve points. Oh, what we can do is, yeah, we can just like literally, we can duplicate as much as we want. So for each line, we will return first that it is a new line, then that we have a line point. Oh yeah, simple. Simple. So if, I guess we need like function, iterate stored point. Yes. Next stored. Yes. So what we'll do here is we'll say like switch on self last. I guess if last is equal to null, we're like get the fuck out of here. Otherwise, we can like look inside it. I guess we can do like const last is equal to self last or else return null. That's like a little nicer for usage down here because I would go like last. We have like, if this thing is a line, we check if we like look at the line. Yeah. And we say if self index is greater than or equal to 1, is greater than 1, return null. Otherwise, return, I guess it's like switch self IDX. Probably makes more sense here. 0, we return LA as a new point. Yes. Yes. Return new line is equal to LA. Oh, yeah. If it's 1, if it's 1, we're a line point at B. If we else, we return null. There's no more points on this line. Now, he's pissed about something. Probably this. There we go. Cool. And if we're a Bezier, we're going to do the same thing for now. However, in the future, we will change this to like kind of segment the Bezier curve however much we feel like. And we'll just go, maybe we will include point B here as well. So maybe we'll say that we have A, B, and C. That seems pretty reasonable to me. So then we can be like, if self next stored, return that. Otherwise, we need to basically go again. Pull the next item and try again. So we go like this. Yeah. So we go like inner next or else return null. And then here we just say like last equal this. That seems reasonable. That seems kind of reasonable. So then we should be able to be like, yo, line point iter of this thing. Init with iter. And then we should just be able to call, like, make our thing with the whatever we do when we make our other distance field. So this guy asks for the distance field renderer. Boom. And then how does he use it? He literally just calls like self-generate distance field, okay, which calls this thing, which calls new distance field is equal to this. Yeah. And this just returns the line iter here instead. And he needs like a width and height for this thing. Do we just set last equals null before each early return? I don't think so, because I think that he'll automatically be happy. But we do need to self-index to 0. I think that the will hit like this case where this will return null, you know, even though this is set because index is too high. And then we'll hit this case and try to call inner next. And as long as inner next returns null like over and over and over again, then we're fine. Pretty sure. We do need our dims, huh? So I guess we'll just call width and height here as well. Fuck it. And then this thing is like returned. Yeah. So then when we initialize this thing, we can call make distance field given alloc width height. Whatever the fuck. TTF subtable. Character width height distance field renderer. Okay. Which means that the distance field renderer needs to get passed in on initialization as well. Or maybe we only do this on update. Fuck it, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Hi. Also thinking that morphing an arbitrary shape into another may be a matter of interpolating each SDF pixel from source to S. True. True, I think that is true. Which is kind of fun. Kind of fun. Okay, so then we call update. I guess this makes like a distance field. And then error defer distance field dinit, and then that means that we store the distance field here. And then we just need to do this same shit on update. So let's do this. We'll just, this is some garbage code. I understand that, but you can't stop me. So we'll make a distance field here as well, using self TTF, self subtable, text at 0 with the width and height, and the distance field renderer, and then we return that here. Boom. And then on the alternate path, we say that we have an invalid distance field. Like this. And then that means that this guy needs the distance field renderer pass in here. Like this. All right. That seems pretty reasonable. Now, surely just people are going to be like, I didn't pass in the distance field renderer, which would be true. So here we just pass in self renderer distance field generator, and when we say like add create text, add text object, here we also need to pass in like self renderer distance field generator. Mad boy at object zig 841. He's pissed off about this thing being off by 1 now. Distance field and new mask 1, which means that this guy needs distance field here. So renderer texture. Boom, bang, bang, boom. Glyph for char at 918. Yeah, this comes from somewhere else. TTF mod now. Okay. Expected type this found. What the fuck? Oh, because here we need to make this failable, which means that callers of this guy can fail. Sure. Seems reasonable. Width is mad at 927 because it's the wrong type. Int cast this bad boy because he is just he says he's a U size, but he can only be a U31. I don't care. You know? No field remember function next in this thing. So he's pissed about what we passed into this guy. Why? Because this thing used to be public, I guess? No, and then is it that the init can fail for some reason, even though like it can't? Okay, and then he needs it to be variable, but we wrote const, so here we write var. And then here he's like, I expected an F32, found an I16. So I guess here the points are probably in clip space, supposedly. Maybe. What did we do on the drawing object? What do we do here? This thing has these things. They must be an object space. They must be. So here we need to do some conversion, I guess. Where we basically have like the width and height. Maybe we store these as like probably floats makes most sense. And then here we're just like width is equal to float from int of width and height from height. And then we can normalize our points here. So I guess here we'll say like scale actually probably makes more sense. Right? And then we can be like scale is equal to this and this. And then here when we do points now, we just go like this, I guess. Oh, but all of these things are I-vec2s, so we need to convert those. So I guess we'll just do like function to clip, that takes in a vector I16.2 and returns a vec2 and his takes in self as well. And he just returns like in F is a vec2 from a float from int on in, and then we return in F over scale. Okay, nice. Noise. Then we spam a little bit of self to clip. Boom, 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 boom. Wow, 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 wow. This must be the slowest I've ever typed this type of shit. I'm usually pretty good at macroing it, but it is what it is. Okay, he's mad because now we need to initialize this line iter with the width and height. True. And expected U32. Whoa. What? Oh. Oh, backwards. It's a hard life. Okay, so now can we like render the distance field instead in the renderer? Instead of where we like text. Here, can we just render the distance field instead? That's like a maybe. Okay, so if we write text here, something's crashing, which means that we did something wrong. I mean, it's probably just like an infinite loop. Probably when two-step was like, shouldn't you not do whatever the fuck you were doing? And I was like, nah. He was probably right. So this is at like can we like p up p cone offsets len items. Yeah, we're clearly just like iterating forever. Pretty clearly. So what do we fuck up here? Next stored. Oh, I guess we have or else return null here. Oh, I think we're not incrementing index. Oops. It's a hard life. Okay, create text. Nice. Oh, wait, that's actually kind of fucking slick, dude. Coordinate space is wrong, though. This is supposed to fill the screen. It's in the top right corner because what? We fucked up, basically. The scale value. Wherever the fuck we're in object here, when we generate this scale, this has to be ×2. And then this has to be minus 1.0, I think, to get us from -1 to 1 instead of 0 to 1. Run it. Create text. I fucked up. I did it the other way around. Other way. And then I guess we should do the divided by 2 after. So can we actually do like store width and height, and then here we'll do self.scale over 2.0. I guess that's easier. I don't know, man. I don't know. Create text. Fuck. Did I get it wrong again? Times. Signs are hard. Signs are hard sometimes. Text. There we go, baby. Okay. I don't really know if I like what's going on here. Maybe that's normal. I'm not really sure. What about B now? Yeah, so things definitely feel shifted in ways that they shouldn't. I do not think that's what the masks look like. And I suspect that it's because we're doing like bounding box fixing in the mask generation. I do believe that's what's happening. Because if we go back to rendering the... instead of rendering the distance field, we render the mask. Wherever the fuck that is. Oh my god, there's lots of code. Here we go. Text. So we render the mask. I don't think that we have issues with like the thing falling off the right side. All right, so create text. Right, so the A here is pretty fucking centered. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same. So let's fix that. I don't know. That's probably in like the text object somewhere. Probably when we generate the mask. This comes from render character, and in here we did some like bounding box shenanigans. So can we just do them again? So what is happening here? We look at like the glyph iter. I see. So we literally just run the whole iterator and then look for curve bounds and then merge bounding boxes. Can we just like return for now? We're getting real hacky with it. Okay. Oopsies, wrong spot. And then here, I guess we pass in the B box as well here. And wherever the fuck else this happens. Did we do it after width and height last time? Width height B box, yeah. Which means that now down here, we take in the bounding box here. Which means that this thing needs to be public for us to be able to use the type by name here. And we say bbox equals bbox. And then here we need to offset this thing. So we need to take like the in minus self bbox 0 self min x self bbox min y probably. That's my guess. And then here we need to store bbox as ttf mod bbox like this. Make distance field needs a like bbox is going to be bbox. And then we need to pass that in here as well. Okay. He's mad because the bounding box has I64s for some reason. I mean, if all coordinates are I16s, like, seems like we should be able to use I16s everywhere. Hopefully that doesn't break anything. I guess, yeah, he does probably want this also. To not just be like some random ass struct, but maybe a, vector to I16 like this. Is happy hour still supposed to be in the title? Every fucking day, man. Wait, I fixed it. It's not in the title. I fixed it this time. Maybe your Twitch didn't update. You had me mad. Okay, so wait, I want to render the distance field, not the fucking text. Let's see, does it line up? Does it line up? Create text. A. Let's go! Look at that bad boy. Right up to the edge. Okay, so now if we export this thing and we look at it in Blender, we should be able to see the distance field that's associated with it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that bee, baby. It's looking pretty cool. Looking pretty cool. Okay. So next step. Next step is we need to fix the Bezier curves. We need to fix the curves. So what I want to do here is I basically want to sample the Bezier curve at some position along this thing, right? So, weird. Had to clear cache to show it. Refresh still showed old title. That's really weird. That's really weird. So I think that we're gonna go like num segments here. We'll start with like 20. Fuck it, blaze it. Shut up. And we'll be like, if self index is greater than or equal to num segments, return null. Otherwise, we can try to sample the thing. So we can say like TTF mod, because that's where it lives right now, which it shouldn't, but you know, it is what it is. I guess we sample between the clip space versions. That seems maybe fine. I'm actually not sure if that'll warp them a little bit, but they do automatically turn into floats this way, which is kind of nice. Fine, we'll just do float from in here. That probably makes more sense, to be honest. Okay, and then we need to sample it at some time step. So this time step will be like self index over num segments. And we probably want to do like as f32 float from int like this, and as f32 float from int like this. There we go. So this is going to be the point. I guess if I equals 0, we still want to say that this is a new line. So I think we still just do this on the 0 case. Otherwise, we return a line point. Like this. And is this thing to F32? Which means that like toClip needs to like, I guess we'll do toClip F and toClip. I guess we'll just double cast this. This is a little bit fucked up, but it's fine. So we'll go back to float. Fix me double cast. What the fuck? But that should be enough for us to see if we have like a reasonable-ish curve. Create text. We'll use letter B. Oh, okay, okay. What's going on here? That's a little concerning. So there's some holes for sure. It looks like maybe on the edge points between either points and lines or double curve, or I'm not really sure. It could just be like boundaries in general, because I think that we need to do greater than here, not greater than or equal to. It could just be like the end of the curve. We're not sampling the last point. That's a very real possibility. That looks better to me. That looks pretty damn good. Resolution of this thing, you can see kind of like very slight kinks in here, right? Which isn't really great. So we could up the number of segments. I'm sure that we can handle a lot before it becomes like a problem. So like let's start by going like mega accurate, and then we can always walk it back to less mega accurate later. Even here, you can still kind of see it. Maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. Fuck it, you know? What does this look like in Blender? Open image. And can we like increase the density here? Seems probably fine. I think that's probably fine, yeah. Okay. So now what? I think we just try to multiply this by the mask. So we probably like write a new shader here. In renderer. And can we just be like, text renderer is going to be a plain render program. He's just going to use a slightly different fragment shader than everyone else, right? So this is going to be the text program, I guess we should call it. And our text program is going to take in 2 inputs. Text fragment shader. Hey, I've been working on a game, looking for some people to go check it out. Figure you look professional. Could you give it a go? Yeah, I think that I'm not going to allow promotion in here, but it also part of me is like maybe I want to check it out. But I'm not going to do it now. I'll tell you that much. And I don't think that really my input on a game is going to be actually useful to you at all. So, apologies. But it is the way it is. So we are going to get a mask and a distance field. Here we're going to say, if the input, we're going to sample the input mask and the distance field at the same location. Oh, it's annoying that I can't fucking indent when I'm using text like this. So this is the input mask. In image is equal to this, and probably we want like a vec4 in image, I guess, and then a this is like probably the red channel. So this is just a float. And then we want the distance here, which is also just going to be from the red channel, probably. This is going to come from the input df. And then here, we're just going to be like, the output here is going to be like some, if in image is greater than 0.5, I guess is how we're going to do this. Distance, I guess it's like, distance is if we're greater than 0.5, distance, else negative distance. There we go. And then here we can go distance. Maybe we want to scale it. Distance plus 0.5 or something. 0, 0, 1 or something. I don't know. Let's just start somewhere. We'll start somewhere. Somewhere. So then we are going to probably deinit the text program at some point. And then when we render, we want to render using the text program. And then this is kind of, we're kind of relying on the fact that uniforms are going to show up in order. We have to fix this later, but for now, I think we can get away with this. Fix me proper indexing of uniforms. I think that this will work. I'm like 60% on that. We'll see. Text program is a text program. And dinit needs an allocator. All right, if you say so. If you say so. Okay, so create text. Ooh. Wait, I think that's kind of working. I'm not really sure, actually. I think that it's definitely using the mask and the distance field. And yeah, okay. So let's do something that's like, what do we want to do here? Probably we want to just say like, we want some sort of like alpha fall off. By how much, I don't really know. Probably the amount of alpha blending that you want to do. Depends on the size, would be my guess. So like, if I have like at max resolution, we don't want to do any fall off whatsoever. It's only as the thing gets smaller that we want to like interpolate distances, but I guess that probably happens for free. Yeah, that probably happens for free. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking. I guess we'll just say for now that we're gonna do some sort of like, um, we'll just do some sort of alpha fall off. So we'll say like, how do you do? There's like a lerp function in GLSL. I think it's called mix. I'm mix. Shut the fuck up. So it's start, end, and the interpolation value. Why is there so much blur? Is it optional? I think that it's just because I was rendering distances as positive, negative. Like I was kind of trying to render the distance more than anything. It's fixable. It's fixable. So I want. What was I gonna draw? I forgot. Nothing, probably. So we want to go from like alpha 1 to 0 based off of if distance is less than 0. Yeah, if distance is less than 0, we're going to do some sort of like alpha is equal to mix 1.0, 0.0, like, I guess we just say that like alpha is equal to 1.0 minus distance times multiplier. And then we clamp this to 0 to 1. That seems right. And then we just have to find like a sane multiplier. Float. And then here we say float alpha is equal to 1.0. And then here we use alpha here. And then here we just say that this thing's gonna be like white. Okay, and then for now we'll just say our multiplier is 1, and let's just see what that looks like. Let's just see what that looks like. Run it. Create text. That's not good. Multiplier 1,000. Let's fall off quick as fuck, dude. Let's see if we if that obviously wasn't the problem. So here we say if distance is less than 0, plus distance probably because it's negative. Create text. There we go. Okay. So now, like if I say like multiplier is like 1, do we get to see some sort of like alpha blending on the outside edges? Let's see, create text. Yeah, so there we see like some sort of like glow here, right? And can we parameterize this multiplier? Like this. And can we how do I want to do this? Maybe we put this here and then we cheat again in the renderer. If I put in wherever the fuck here, multiplier is equal to t multiplier. I think that'll do what I want. I'm not 100% on that. And then here we'll store a multiplier as a float. And then also, I kind of want to store a scale here as well. Okay. I don't know. Sure. Then I want to basically multiply the width and height by the scale here when we create this thing. Which means it's like the distance field I want to be generated at high resolution. I just want to sample the distance field at low resolution. But I guess let's start by just hooking up the multiplier to the UI. So can we just be like, input float multiplier comes from, it's not input float, I want like IG drag float actually with value of, T multiplier. Okay. And what else is in this shit? Speed? I don't know. 1? Maybe 0.1? I don't know. Min is gonna be like 0.0. Max is like stud math inf f32, probably. I don't know. And then format will say, I don't know, %.03 f. Okay. And flags 0. What else do I do that? Fuck! I'm not really supposed to do it this way, but I think that we can probably just modify it like straight in place in the GUI. Let the GUI do what it wants. And now if I go create text and go text here and I change this, oh, he's mad. Because I called this the wrong thing. This should be multiplier. Does that work better? Create some text. Okay, go to text. This is doing jack shit. Why? Because this should be float. I don't know why. I guess I just didn't save and I'm a fucking idiot. Alright, run. Create text. Text. 1000. Okay, yeah, there we go. Nice. So now we can kind of whoop 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 whoop. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. So now we can look at the letter B. That's kind of fun. Look at that. That is kind of that. This does indicate that everything is kind of like working, right? Okay. So now what I wanted to do is I wanted to add like a scale to this thing. I wanted to add a scale and see how it looks at low resolutions. So what's the play here? When we generate the actual this just comes from object dims. So here we can literally just be like times t scale. We go like float from int here, and height is like float from int of height, and then we go t dot scale width. This should be like int from float of width times t scale, and int from float of height times t scale. Okay. And then in the here, we just allow scale to be modified. Okay. Okay, so if I go like this now, unfortunately, like the scale here is not kind of like reflected, I don't think, until we export it and look at it directly. So this is a 2048 by 2048 image, which means that this isn't working. I expected this to kind of move itself down, so why is it not working? Why is that not working? Object, did I not save? I did. Okay, when we export our image, do we not respect the object dimensions? We say, give me the selected object dims, literally give me a texture of that size and write that shit out. So why is this not working? Selected dims, image dims, any. I could have sworn that would do what I wanted. Could have sworn. Scale. Control E. Oh yeah, that's definitely changing the size. So why then? Export. This is 81 by 104, 23 by 29. Oh, it's because image.png, not test.png. Okay, wait, hold on. 0.01. Let's reduce this, increase this multiplier a little bit, hit export, refresh. Refresh. I mean, like, maybe. Maybe. Look at like letter B. Like, I mean, that's looks definitely like legible. Can we put it on like a black background? Background color mode. Oh, that's not what I want. What's the easiest way to test this? What is the easiest way? I think that if we create a shader that mimics this thing, so we say take in, oh, it's not composable, fuck. Object is composable. True. I think that that means please call flip vertically on right. No. We're just gonna leave it upside down. It's Satan. Satan letters. Wait, you can't stop me. So can we like add like a contrast shader that uses the text as the input? Nice. And so now I think that if I bring the text scale down, I think that here that gets like shown. Yeah, nice. Nice. Yeah. I actually think that the distance shader sampling, I actually think this is doing the wrong thing a little bit. I think that the somewhere we kind of use nearest neighbor sampling in OpenGL textures instead of linear sampling by default, because for other SDFs we were using, it worked better that way, because like it kind of like created this like weird gluing behavior where like stuff would kind of like fall into itself. It's hard to explain, but like in if I drew like a path like this and a path like this, like with interpolation, sometimes like these would start to like merge together. But I think that here we actually want that behavior. I suspect. So how do we do that? Object, when we say make texture, make distance field here. This creates a texture somewhere, right? Does he not generate distance field? Oh, we can just, can we just change the sampling parameters after the fact? Can we just be like, in here? Is there like GL text parameter named? I just got here. I see some C code inside the link program. Is it easier to write the shader in C? It's actually GLSL, which is a lot like C, but it's not quite. Not quite. So this is just GL text param GL texture instead of text. Jesus Christ, man. What names? So can we do like GL linear? Is there like, is it bilinear? Linear? Uh, Linear seems fine. Does that change behavior at all? Ret is wrong? Really? Oh, ret dot or maybe? So it's a strong type texture. We're really breaking layers of abstraction, but you know, it is what it is. So now, what's the trick here? We add like a contrast shader that uses the text as the input, and then on the text we reduce the scale a lot so that the shader looks at it. There we go. Yeah, okay. That's really fucking small. So it's like really small. We do this, we bring it up. Yeah, I don't know. Like that doesn't look bad to me. What's like the correct size of this thing? That's 29 by 44. What's like the size of like one character in the terminal here? Like if I look at like, you know, low resolution, what's like my height here? Oh, that's pretty fucking low, dude. That's really like 4 to like 18, so like 12 pixels tall. So this is actually unfair representation. We actually have to go smaller. How many did I say it was? This was like 18 to like 4, so 14. Yeah, so about this tall. It doesn't look good. Yeah, that doesn't. Definitely probably looks worse than if I were to type a B in the terminal. So, I think it is likely that we are going to have to do some grid fitting because that looks not very good. I wonder if we can also blend on the other side, right? If we could blend in the shader. Where the fuck are we doing the blending? Here. So here we could do like distance is less than 1 over multiplier. Distance is less than 1 over multiplier. Then we try to go from, I guess it's like, we kind of want something like, oopsies. Here we go like, you know, if this is like the boundary, we kind of want, I'm just kind of like fading out this way. I guess we could fade in this way as well, is what I'm kind of suggesting. Which means that we do like, if distance is less than 1 over multiplier, we're just mixing from 1.0 to 0.0. Yeah, so 0 to 1. And 0 is negative distance times multiplier. Yeah, 2 distance times multiplier. So we need that to be like 1 equals mx plus b. So we're going to go like negative n to n maps 0 to 1. This becomes divide by 2n, divide by 2n plus 0.5. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we're trying to go from 1.0 over multiplier. So we just say distance over 2 over n plus 0.5. I mean, that's what I'm claiming. That's what we're claiming. Float alpha is equal to this, which is clamped from 0 to 1. That's what we're saying we want. I don't know if it is actually what we want. We can take a look and see. Fuck. Alpha declared twice. That's true. Fuck off. Run it. Create text. Text. So now we just want our multiplier. Here we go. So that is doing what I want, right? We can see that like it's kind of like increasing the fall off on both sides. And we just want to like then kind of bring this thing up to something like this and then drop the scale down and then see how that affects its low resolution version. Right, so we bring it like all the way down like this. And like, do we want to like let it kind of blur a little more? I mean, that doesn't look that bad. Maybe. Let's go back image. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, that honestly doesn't look that bad. Neither does that, to be honest. Can we do like G or something? What's like something that's like kind of like detailed? M? That kind of looks okay. 0.01? Maybe I am okay with that. There's like a possibility. L. I mean, that doesn't look that bad, to be honest. Okay, you are right. Whoever said we should flip and I said fuck you to spite them, I'm now on your side. um. Okay. So this multiplier just needs to be like. So if we set it like this, I forget. Do we need to tune the multiplier based off of the size of the export? Like if we just have this like kind of crank the fuck up. Oh fuck. Wrong button. Wrong button. Right, we have like just crank this the fuck up. And we drop the scale down to like something like really small. Is there like still aliasing that we see in here? Like I can't really tell, to be honest. Like B. Like does that look worse than if I do like bring this thing down and like let it kind of alpha a little bit? I actually can't tell. Maybe that's actually fine. F. And then if I like go in here and I like draw an F here, this is kind of like what it's supposed to look like. Right, that's kind of what it's supposed to look like. So like if that's what it's supposed to look like with like subpixel rendering and stuff, like we could do something like increase the alpha shit. Or we could allow it to get a little blurrier. I guess I kind of want to show it on black. instead of alpha. Can we can fix that. It'll be easier to kind of compare. So I guess it's just like if alpha is like equals 0, we do fragment of 0, 0, 0, 1, and then otherwise we do this. That might be a little bit nicer. It's kind of different because the subpixel entity is like, yeah, I understand that. I understand. I understand. That's weird. I don't like that at all. I guess, can we like blend colors together by alpha? Yeah, I guess we kind of just want like, instead of doing what we're doing here, we literally use, we do like a mix of 0, 0, 0, 1.0, and this by alpha. That feels kind of more right. Then it'll look less like shit. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So we export, we hit F5. This is 11 by 14. We hit F here, lowercase f, F5. Oh, we have to export here, F5. And then we want to see like what happens if we like reduce the multiplier, let it bleed a little more. Like it might look a little better. You can definitely tell that there is some sort of like grid fitting that could be beneficial, right? Like, but that's not bad. Export F to pay respects, thank you. Like, that's definitely like readable. Like, I don't really know if I have a problem. It's not great. Not great, but if I go down, I mean, that's not great either. Right? Like, it's just like, it's fucking small. But I'm pretty sure that here, the grid fitting is doing some heavy lifting. If I like look at this, hold on, exit, exit, come into this. Yeah, you can tell like the grid fitting is making it so that this like horizontal bar is pretty good. But yeah, you're saying like not worth the trouble, IMO, and I'm kind of like maybe agreeing. Because like I'm never going to present text that small, ever. Like in my entire life, that won't happen. Right? So if we just like kind of like set like a minimum reasonable size, then I think that it'll probably be okay. Like if we just kind of say like our minimum here is like this, like that looks fine, 12 pixels high, and then if we like start writing like a dot, like period, that looks kind of weird, but shut the fuck up. Wow, he doesn't like that at all. Where the fuck is it? That's interesting. So, oh, this is probably because this is the width of this thing is literally smaller than 8, so this doesn't work. We can't test that very easily. Oh, but yeah, like that looks fine. I'm not really against it. Yeah, maybe. I do think that the amount of fall off I think has to be tuned for the resolution that we're at. Right? There's something weird here where like you want more blur, right? Like for this you want it crisp as fuck, but for this you don't. Limiting is not necessarily just a lot of people. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The people are me, but yeah, I mean, I guess I could make like a soft limit. Discriminating against me in my 4x4 monitor resolution monitor. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so there's something here where we will probably have to tune like like if we were to like try to use this in like a GUI, we probably want to tune the like fall off based off of the. Well, I mean, what happens if we just crank this and we look at here? Maybe that is better, huh? Like maybe the blurriness makes it actually harder to read at such a low resolution. We're like B. Crank that shit. Oh no, that looks like shit. That definitely looks like shit. That looks better. So yeah, I think that you do want it, but yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I think this is a success. This is a success. I think that this feels to me like we could use this to like start making a UI library and render like low res text, which is pretty sick. And then definitely at like high res. At high res, this is great. This works wonderfully, right? We just want to like, I guess we do want to soften our edges like a small amount. There's something, oh, this is weird. Ooh, I don't like that. I do not like that. Oh, I think our mask needs to be interpolated as well. What's happening there? It's that the object, we need to give this same treatment to the mask that we generate, like here. Yeah. Let's see if that improves anything. Create text. B. Crank the multiplier and zoom in. No, that still looks bad. That looks even worse, maybe. Yeah, so this is like... Maybe that's just the way it is. Maybe that's just the way it is. I mean, I guess also when you're zooming in at like a fucking 2000 pixel by 2000 pixel image, maybe it's supposed to look jaggedy there. I mean, there's something about like the alpha blending here. Oh, it's because we're alpha blending in the mask. This probably would look better if we went back to doing 0 to 1 here. Yes, this was like distance over n goes from 0 to 1. I think that just works better, maybe. Other way. Other way, maybe. That definitely doesn't look right. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think there's probably something that can be done there. I'm just not quite sure what it is. If we make this not plus 0.5, it should trend towards the dark side, which I think is what we want. Yeah, maybe that's fine. I don't know, man. Yeah. I guess it's because here we're getting like a hard line and it's pixelated, and then like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. All right. I think we call it there. I think things are looking pretty good. I think that looks definitely promising. Let's do one more, couple more testy. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, we stream most days at around 12:30 Pacific time to 4 o'clock Pacific time. It is 3:30 Pacific time now, so anywhere between 2.5 hours ago and now, or 3 hours ago and now, sorry, is when you should expect to see us live, or to half an hour from now. We are working on this image editor. I think we're getting pretty close to being able to do arbitrary text, which is pretty sick. We need to fix this so that we parse out from the TTF file kind of like distances between items, but I think that's probably pretty trivial. And then we will get to the point where we can like chunk in arbitrary text. And then once we have the ability to generate arbitrary text at arbitrary resolutions, we can start working on like a better UI framework. We can probably start like ditching IM GUI and writing something custom ourselves. The reason that we would want to do that is because we have stuff like this. Hold on, git commit -m smile, git lol, git checkout origin whip2, zig build. Good test is rendering a sentence. Yeah, we don't have like advancement between letters yet though, so that will be a problem for another day. But we are working on like some UI stuff so that we can do stuff like this, where we can go like, oh god, switch between objects by like clicking on like our widgets down here. We want to be able to do stuff like drag this into like a composition, so our composition will have like, instead of going like this, I want to be able to like drag this in here. So there's like reasons why it's kind of nice to be able to like render your own, do your own UI stuff. We will see. So I think that if the text is looking okay at lower resolutions, when we start like adding like labels to stuff in our like little special widget in here, maybe things will start looking okay. So we'll see. So if you want to see advancement on that, we will continue working on this for the next little bit. I don't really know if I'll be on tomorrow. We might skip tomorrow and come on Monday. But if you want to see our image editor advance, swing back by. What else? What else? I don't know. YouTube. Peace out. Twitch, let's find someone to raid.